What's up guys, Ryan here. Got 4 rooftop units, 2 of them aren't working. Unit 4 here is, according to EMS, not doing anything. Then unit 1, way over there, blower's on, but no cooling. So we're gonna dig in here and see what we've got going on. Little train unit. Now it appears power is on at the disconnect, so I'm going to open this thing up. All right guys, I do have main power 207, 208, 209. Check and see if I've got 24 volts. I do not have 24 volts at the control board. Transformer was tripped. Now I've got voltage. All right, now I've got 24 volts. And there went my blower, and it tripped, I believe. No, it did not trip. Why did my blower come on and then shut immediately off? Gonna need a belt, that's for sure. Yeah, in the meantime, we'll close that. See what tripped our transformer here. Alright, I'm gonna set the camera down. I'm gonna look some things over. Alright, I got the test pins jumped out. I'm gonna see if I can force this thing into cooling. Let's see, there we go. Alright, so what tripped our 3 amp resettable fuse on the transformer? It looks like there it went. Oh. All right, what's going on here? I doubt it's kicked off on high head pressure already. I think I'm gonna be shutting the power off and digging into this wiring to see if we've got anything rubbing. Dumping some heat. Oh man, I'm gonna tighten that belt. I'm gonna shut the power off. I'm gonna look over all the wiring, see if I can find a rub out or something like that. But as far as it appears now, the contactors are both pulled in. With 24 volts applied to the coil. Possibly a wiring issue in here somewhere. Not real sure. I don't want to go poking around too much with the power on. It is cooling. Suction line is good and cold. Fan is running. Blower's running. What do we got here? We might have a rub out right there. Shut this thing off. Look at that. Look at that. There is a rub out right here on the suction line. Right there, that's bare copper. In fact, I wonder what wires those are. Let me get my meter here. See if we've got 24 volts on either one of those. Now I don't have 24 volts on it, but that is clearly 2 rubbed out wires. I'll have to strip that back and you know, I'm gonna have to strip that back and get rid of that. Oh. I don't know. I'm gonna be looking over all this wiring. All right, let me open everything up. Something's going on. I'm gonna check the coils on these contactors. I'm gonna pull all this out and inspect all of it right off the bat with this rub out. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't have more wires rubbing out somewhere. It's just kind of a mess in here. I'll be back. All right, guys, I'm just looking everything over. I'm testing the ohms on the contactor coils. The blower, I got 11, 10.9, 11. Compressor, got 5.6. Seems a little low to me, and it was bouncing around. I'm gonna look over the rest of the wiring like I've been doing and see if I can find any potential rub outs or anything causing that to trip that 3 amp fuse. Just like a mess of wires in here. The wire that was rubbed out here on the suction line is for this current transducer for the EMS, so I believe that's DC voltage. I'm not sure if that caused our trip, but that's definitely an issue, so we're going to be taking care of that. Gonna kind of clean this mess up a little bit and see if I can find anything else. I see stuff taped up down here. Clearly there was a transformer replaced here before, so I see something melted and burnt into this wire nut. So what caused that? Possibly a bad contactor in the past. I'm not sure. I'm gonna continue on. Guys, I cut and pulled a little more wire up to land on our control board here, and I started tracing out, and look what we have here. More rubbed out burnt wires. So I'm gonna go ahead and probably have to splice and wire nut, and then I'm also going to replace the contactor. It's looking burnt and pitted. I can see it might not be picking up on camera, but it's smoked out. And I'm gonna go ahead down to the van, get some wire nuts, and that right there very well may have been what our issue was. I kind of pulled on the wire. Oh, that's the same wire I just pulled. Yeah, definitely it was rubbing somewhere. I'm half tempted to just rerun all new wire. You know what, I'm gonna just bug it together because we have a DNE on this, and I already had to get an approval for the contactor. So I'm gonna just get a new piece of thermostat wire, and I'm gonna wire nut and tape it here, and then I'm gonna recommend we come back and rewire all of this. Get a box, land them in a box, make our connection, and then run all new. And also I'm going to tighten that belt. We're going to recommend to replace that. So that's where I'm at with this one. Lots of rub outs and potential rub outs. So I'm going to get it going, and then I'm going to write up to come back and rework the whole low volt thermostat wire situation here. Go through all this wiring. All right, well, I cleaned it all up the best I could. Got rid of that rub out here, wire nutted and taped it, looked and inspected all the wiring, pinned everything up so it's not touching, replaced the contactor, tightened the belt. We are gonna write up to come back with a 2x4 box, possibly put it here and run all new wire the whole way over. That way it's all new, it's all neat, and we can go through all this electrical. This didn't take me incredibly too long, but I don't want to have to increase the DNE again, and I still have that unit over there to look at. So let's go ahead and kick it on, jump it out here. Belt should sound a lot better now. Come on, baby. Yeah, belt sounds a lot better. There we go. Let me get some panels on. I'm gonna run it and make sure nothing's gonna trip that 3 amp fuse on the transformer. 50-degree supply. Hoping to have a 70-degree return. Might be a little higher than that though. But she's cooling. I had no issues with the 3 amp fuse on the transformer. So I believe it was the rub out. The contactor was questionable. She's burned up in there a little bit. So 72. 73. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and reset this out of test mode, reapply power, and then confirm that EMS is able to control this, which it should take a minute or two to boot up, have him kick everything on. All right, I'm gonna clean up the remaining mess I have here, and we're gonna move on down to number 1. This one's running. This one's running. Sounds like it needs a belt. All right. EMS told me he has connection with it. Should be calling for air conditioning, and the blower's running. Sure sounds to me like a belt's off. Let's take a look here. Belts are on there, blower's running. There's a belt on it. Probably needs tighten though. It doesn't seem like it's moving a lot of air. I'll get to that belt here after we open it up and see what we've got going on. This one's in a little better shape. Oh, Y1 is pulled. Y1 is pulled. All right. Why's that? All right, guys. I've got refrigerant 410A in it. Y1's been pulled. I'm just gonna. All right. Sounds good to me. Let's go ahead and plug this sucker on and see if we can get this thing to kick on. All right. Pressures look decent, but this fan motor sounds weird. Amp draw 2.4 amps on that. Just doesn't sound right. Pressures look decent. Suction's coming up, head pressure's going down. Let that run for a bit. I'd like to get an amp draw on this condenser fan motor. 2.4. You hear that? It's got like a high-pitched whine to it. Alright, well, the belt's very loose, which is probably explaining our low suction pressure. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten it up. I know I should be using a box end wrench. You know what? I'll just grab it. I don't want to hear it in the comments. I get it. I get it. We'll go ahead and get a new belt, but I'm just gonna tighten it up in the meantime. There we go. Whoop. Well, you know what? Let's see what size belt that is right off the bat. AX26. Don't let me forget that. AX26. Alright. That's better. AX26. Let me go ahead and throw this cover back on. I think we're gonna have a bad fan motor though. Condenser fan motor. It's got a weird noise to it. Guys, the increased airflow appears to have brought my suction pressure up, but I still got the weird noise from the condenser fan motor. I'm pulling 1.7 amps. It's rated for 2.4, so we look good there. Huh. Weird. .69 amps. 345 pounds of head pressure, 114 pounds of suction. It's a 38-degree saturation temperature. I know there's another company that maintains this store and we do service work, so I'm wondering if he came and disconnected that just because of the sound of the I don't know, something sounds weird. You know, there's a little, get the hell out of here, B. There's a little cork piece in there for when these are flipped up the other way. Let me see if that's rubbing. That might be all it is. I'm gonna pull this condenser fan out and flip it over top. I'll be back. All right, I got this thing flipped around. Sounds like something's rubbing when I spin it. You hear that? I'm wondering if it's this piece right here. Look at that. No more sound. It appears that this, I can't get on it real good because of this fan blade. It appears that this little gasket material was kind of rubbing on the motor there. Now I don't hear that noise at all. I just separated it slightly. I'm gonna go ahead and throw it back in because the amp draw on the motor is good. It's not hot. And it is rotating the correct direction. Let me see if that took care of it. We had a noisy condenser fan motor, maybe the low suction pressure. The belt was very loose. Let me button this back up, see if maybe that took care of that noise. I'm pretty sure it did. Just from spinning it now, I don't hear it. It kind of sounded like a high-pitched squeal, but I think that this, I don't even know what that's for. It's a little like gasket material that come on the motor. I'm gonna flip it around, see if that made that noise go away. Okay, go ahead and jump out our test pins here. Some of these work for me, some of them don't. I believe, well, there's that, that's good. Sometimes these wires are disconnected from the board, but they are here. Let's see if I can jump it out right at the board. Alright guys, I got her back on. That sounds a lot better since I separated that little gasket material on there. I'll let this thing run for a bit. I'm liking that a lot better. Yeah, I don't know if it was picking up on the video, that noise, but it sounds like a regular old fan motor now. Want to see if I actually jumped it on from the test pins or if this thing's calling for air conditioning. Some of these train test terminals get little iffy. Sometimes they want to come on, sometimes they don't. Yeah, we're not calling. We're still on the test, so it must have went through. It just took a little longer than it normally does. I'm liking the pressures. I'm gonna go ahead and reset it, call EMS, make sure he has good control over everything, get my gauges unhooked in the meantime. Yeah, there's the blower. Get this panel put in place, go from there. All right guys, it appears we are good to go. Everything checked out with the EMS guy. I got the write-up for Unit 4 for the low voltage wiring repairs, replacement. They're all gonna get belts. Everything else appears to be working properly. And now we've got number 1 online and working. So we are good to go. I appreciate you guys watching. If you like the video, hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell icon. That'll notify you anytime I got a new video coming out. Leave me a comment. Hit like. Appreciate it. See you on the next one.